Welcome to the Amanita podcast with your host, Christian Rasmussen.
Let's start. I know a lot of this, but not everybody does. So tell your story. And I don't know much about like your childhood or growing up, or I mean, I know a little bit, but yeah, just like break it all down.
Yeah.
And then what led you to the
I'll
mushroom?
give everybody a little rundown on who Renee is. So I was born in Ohio and I lived there till I was 19. And then my father moved us all down here to Florida after I graduated. So I didn't adapt well to Florida. I didn't like it. I missed all my friends. I missed home, the only place I ever knew. But as time went on, Florida gave me a lot of opportunities and I was able to get into real estate. And then I got into property management, which was like high-end properties, and all kinds of people would go there and rent these apartments. It was on the water, and some rock groups. We had Extreme, I think, was there a couple times. I mean, it was all fun. So I always had fun, whatever I did in my life, whatever work I did. But I've mainly been in sales and marketing. I've been married for over 20 years. I have a daughter who's in her early 20s, and she just had a little girl herself. And so I've got a grandbaby that I think the world of, and it's getting to spend a lot of time with her. So life is good. I live in a rural area of West Palm Beach and have a lot of land around me, and it's really private. So it's a nice place. I can go outside and meditate. Nobody's going to think, what's she doing over there? And nobody can see me because I've got all this property. I just enjoy life. I live in the moment, and I'm very, very extremely grateful. One, that I'm still here, and two, that I beat the odds. I could have been in a wheelchair from what I've been told, but I healed. And so I can tell you a little bit about that and then why I found you, like that way. 14 years ago, I had something happen to me that I'm sure was what put me on my spiritual path and helped me to wake up. And, with the ascension and all that, I feel like I've lived 100 lifetimes, but I suffered a near death. I was dead when the paramedics got here. Apparently, I had a pulmonary embolism, and my daughter was homesick from school that day. Luckily, thank you, God, she called 911 and saved my life, because when they found me, they had to revive me, and it was pretty bad. And then I got airlifted and spent 35 days in ICU fighting for my life. I got a hospital-borne bacteria in my lungs. I was on a ventilator. I mean, I beat all the odds. And the experience of crossing over and then coming back into your body, it's just something I can't even explain. But I went so many places while I was in a medically induced coma. I traveled, I astral traveled. I was never just laying in the bed. I'd float over the nurse's station sometimes. It was like I could just pop in and out of my body. Mm-hmm. And when I got home, I had to reconcile all that happened to me, because I didn't understand what happened. I didn't even realize it was a near death. So I started diving into Michael Newton's books, Memories of the Afterlife. I think Daniel Brinkley is somebody that crossed over. I was like watching the movie, I'm reading the book, and a bunch of things like started to make sense. Like I couldn't understand why I had like a movie of my entire life playing like in an IMAX theater, like 360. And the minute I thought of something, then I was there. So I figured out, you have to be so conscious of your thoughts. And they instilled in me that your words have power and to always use them wisely. Or some of the lessons I got. It probably took a good 10 years for me to have everything just sort of like, okay, now I understand what happened to me. I understand where I went. I understand what they showed me. And then it's you, but you have so much power with your thoughts that like, I try to tell people, learn how to control your thoughts now, because when you get out of your body, you feel exactly like you do right now. You don't feel any different. And if you think something, you'll be there in an instant. So you better learn to like watch your thoughts and have control over them. So that's another thing I try to help people with. But let's fast forward to why I know you, Christian, and I think of you as a son. You know that. So let's go back to December of 2022. So I have a rotten back. I've blown out discs left and right. It's been pretty bad throughout my 20s and 30s and 40s. I would go in to see the pain management doctors and get those steroid shots. Some people do it under anesthesia. I just stay wide awake and let the doctor just inject me, and then I'm good. So before Christmas in December of 2022, like I said, went to see my doctor. And I don't know if he was rushing because it was right before the Christmas holiday and whatnot, but he went in too far in the piriformis muscle area, and that's where your sciatic nerve bundle travels through. And he pierced one of my sciatic nerves, the S1, and shot the steroid into the nerve. And what it did was it was like a chemical burn all the way from where it went in. It went up into the back. It went down my leg and all the way into my foot. And when I tell you, it was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my life. I mean, I think I blacked out. And I remember screaming. What happened was I had the doctor try to like ignore me and not help me. He didn't tell me that, hey, 90% of the people that have this happen to them, they never get better. He never said that to me. But I looked it up, and then I went to neurologists and a neurosurgeon. They were going to put a spinal cord stimulator in my back, and then I was going to be having to have a morphine pump because there was no way to control the pain. It was like 9-10 constantly. Couldn't sleep, couldn't walk. I mean, I thought this is it, I'm going to go out, and the rest of my life's going to be, I'm going to be a burden to my family. It was the most horrible time of my life. So I went into prayer and I asked to be healed. It's about 3 hours of laying on the floor and crying and asking. And then I heard, you will be healed. I heard it. And I like felt this weight lift off of me. And I'm like, I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm already healed. I'm not even going to ask again. I know that I'm healed. I started to go into meditation. I had some peculiar things happen to me during the meditation. That's a whole nother, it's like a 2-hour podcast. We'll need for that. Let's just say I'm probably going to write a book about it because that was so profound. But I had energetically some kind of being come to me in meditation while I, tried to just relax to sleep and work on my body. I felt electrical, stimulation went up my spine. I felt it going down my leg. I could feel a presence there. And it happened to me a total of 4 times. And on the 3rd time, I had a completely dead left foot. I couldn't feel my foot at all. I was practically dragging it everywhere I went. When I usually crawled, though, that's how bad it was. I got up in the morning and I had feeling in my foot again. And I got so much better over the next few months that I didn't need the surgery. And now I'd say, the pain's about a 2 to 3 and it's gone. So I beat the odds. But while I was in the throes of the pain and before the prayer, I was looking for something to help because they were giving me the strongest, 30 milligram Percocets to take. I can't take that kind of medicine. So I started researching. I came across somebody that had told me about Amanita. I didn't know where to buy it. I go online and look, and I found a lady that was talking about Amanita, and on it, she had a little link to click that said Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals. And I'm like, well, I guess this is where I may get my Amanita from. And I ordered some gummies to start trying it. And I chewed just 2 gummies, and I could feel my body felt light as a feather. I felt no pressure. It seemed to take that nerve pain and just crank it way down. And then I could sleep. So I started communicating with you because I was so excited about this Amanita. I was like, Christian, okay, so could I be a wholesaler for you? Christian, let me ask you another question. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
How I was so excited. Yeah, I'm still that way though. See, that's
I
what's
know
funny.
you are. I know. We're going to get into that a little bit too.
Yeah, good things are happening. But I started off with the gummies, and then after that, I learned to make tea, and I was drinking the tea before I go to bed, and I was sleeping again. And I really credit the angels, God, the universe, whatever I tapped into, and you too, Christian, for having the Amanita. And Amanita, I think it did something. It felt like it did something in my brain that like switched something.
Yeah.
After about 5 months, I didn't even feel like the same person. I had no like depression. My anxiety was gone. I'm like, who am I? You know? And just now I just go with the flow, and I don't stress about anything. I just am like just so calm and balanced now. I mean, it changed my life.
Yeah.
So, and ever since then, you and I have been friends.
Yeah. Your business mama.
You're my son. I know you are. But yeah, I've been helping you out here and there and just spreading the word and letting people know there's something special about this mushroom.
Absolutely.
People need to understand the benefits and whatnot. Like I said, this is my personal experience, but you're better at explaining the science and what they're finding out about it. And
yeah, so. I mean, we don't need to get into all that unless we want to. So did you start using Amanita after that prayer and meditation that you had, or is it prior to that?
After.
It was after.
Yeah.
Do you think that Amanita would have come into your life had it not been for that experience? Do you think that experience brought it in a sense? It was kind of part of the prayer and the meditation.
Yeah. I believe that I asked, and then I just knew that my prayer would be answered, and I never wavered. Every cell, every ounce of my being, my heart, mind, body, soul, I said, I am healed. And I would say to everybody, look, I can't walk very good today. I said, but you're going to see me running soon. Yeah. These were things I would just have the affirmations one after the other. And I never didn't believe, because what had happened to me was, I know it's a miracle. And I know that Amanita had to come into my life because I was searching for something that would help. Yeah. So before, I wouldn't have never, thought to even look for Amanita or never been curious. But
well, you knew and you believed that you were being healed. How quickly after that prayer meditation experience did it pop in?
It took about, I would say, 3 months, maybe 4, that I slowly had something working on me at night. I could feel it. I could feel my leg being pulled. I don't know. I always say it's like an angel came to me. And each time I would get better and better, my pain would lessen. And I found Amanita in the midst of all that happening.
Do you have any thoughts about what that was, who that entity was? Do you have any conjecture? It was Archangel Gabriel?
Well, yeah, I kind of do.
Any thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, because after I had this spiritual experience that it was so profound, I couldn't believe it. I actually have a friend of mine. He's a mystic, and he's actually a psychotherapy license. He went into Western medicine, and then he was healing people better with meditation and different Zen techniques that he learned, that he left it all behind and he took off and started his own healing center in Peru. He was from Germany. But I immediately knew I had to call Julian and talk to him about this spiritual experience I had. And what came through was Jesus. And Jesus and I have been close ever since I was a kid. I grew up in Greek Orthodox religion. My grandfather was a priest in the religion. So it was part of my growing up to have, Bibles all over the house. And I remember I was like, Jesus is the only thing in here that makes any sense, and I was go to the red letters. And I always felt that he was around. He's a very powerful presence, but he's not the only one. Julian told me he's amazing. And yes, you're connected to him, but he said he's not the only fish in the sea. So there's been so many spiritual teachers that we've had over thousands of years so far. But they do show up when we need them the most. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it was Jesus. Yeah, cool. I really do.
I want to know more about the meditation that you had, and you said it'd be a 2-hour podcast. We don't got to get into all of it, but I'm curious. I don't know if I think we've touched on this a little bit, but yeah, if you want to just outline some of what happened.
Yeah. So somebody that passed away actually came through, and all I did was I would be like laying on ice packs, and my whole left side of my leg, I'd have ice packs all over me. And I would try to just lay there, and I would do these breathing techniques that I do. And I can just like get right into the theta brainwaves with it, and like the third breath. Because I just know where that feels like, and I can get there fast.
Yeah.
So I remember all of a sudden, I'm hearing my friend that passed away. Now, he was a writer of books about the Anunnaki. He was a podcaster. He was a guest on like Coast to Coast and all these different programs. He would probably have ended up with a show on Gaia TV. Just saying. Yeah. His name was Gerald Clark. And I heard him say, "Hi, Renee." And I'm thinking, I got to be losing my mind because I'm hearing Gerald Clark's voice. And then I could see him in my mind's eye. And he told me what they were going to do to work on me, and that not to be afraid. And he kept talking to me as I was being worked on, and that energy went up my spine. I mean, it was electrical, but it was the most peaceful, calming feeling. He told me, "I know your head and your neck and all that are a mess because of the way you have to lay." He goes, "So I'm going to work on that first." And I could feel like my arms being pulled. And it would only last about 5 minutes. And then he would say, "I'm leaving now." And it happened to me 2 weeks later. Same thing. I closed my eyes to meditate, but I wasn't like in my zone yet. And I opened my eyes up, and there were literally blue and purple orbs flying all over my room. And then I just relaxed and closed my eyes. I heard Gerald and saw him in my mind's eye, but it was real staticky. It was almost like a radio station fritzing in and out. Sure. And like your TV, when you're losing a signal. Yeah. That's what I was seeing. I got worked on that time, which that was a little scary because I was paralyzed when they started working on me. And I want to say they because it felt like more than one entity was there. But it came to me as somebody that I respected and trusted. And I think that's why I got the whole Gerald Clark thing that happened. But that time I was paralyzed. I couldn't have moved anything on my own if I wanted to. And they really pumped me full of energy. And that was the next morning when I woke up and I had feeling in my foot. So I was told, "You're never going to have feeling in your foot. You're always going to be in this much pain. You have to get a spinal cord stimulator. There's no way you're going to be able to deal with this pain unless you do, blah, blah, blah." And I was healed. I think belief has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
Because my theory is if you pray and you ask for something and you feel it in your heart, it brings tears to your eyes. It's something that you want to see manifest. And you pray, you should only ask one time. Because you continuing to ask every time you pray shows that you have no faith.
Yeah.
One time. And then believe it with your entire being. You don't waver from it. You go around saying like it's already happened. You're feeling it like it's your emotions have a lot to do with it. But let me tell you, I knew I was healed and I never once doubted it. So I think there's a lot to be said about that. Why do we doubt?
What would you tell somebody if we fully believed with all of our body, our spirit, our mind, that if I fully believed that I could, levitate off of this chair right now, fully believed it, I could absolutely do it. But like, there's so many barriers to that. So like, that's a different example, but like fully believe in what I'm meant to do here on this earth. But that's a long timeline to watch that pan out. I definitely don't fully believe I could just levitate right now. Part of me could. I could get there, but there's like the body doesn't believe that, somebody's in need. And we've talked about that with my own health stuff. You've tried to help me to get to a point of fully believing that I'll be healed. And there's so many barriers to it. It's particularly hard when you're in physical pain. Like it's hard to just like look past that, So how would you, if you had somebody that was, or let's say me. So like, my own health journey, and it's getting a lot better. And I do fully believe that we're nearing the end of it. But that belief is also linear. So we're still timed out. How would you recommend I go about fully believing that in this moment I'm healed?
Well, first of all, I think it's when you have to want it so bad that like you live, eat, breathe, it's coming out your pores. This is what I have to have. Right? And hit the floor, cry, pray, meditate on it. And the problem is, like, sometimes we don't hear the message that is coming through. You have to be almost like in the moment at all times because messages come through that way. So there's, again, controlling your thoughts. But I would say that, you'd have to get really humble and you'd have to just say, I want this more than I ever wanted anything, and I need this to happen. And then you just say, universe, make it so. I believe that as my intention, my prayer goes up into the ether, because I found out that everything works in reverse here based on what you ask for, what you need, what you think. It goes up as your thought, as your feeling, but then it has to go backwards in order to make it manifest. So it's incredible. So you just ask and then you believe. And if you have to every morning get up and just say, this has already happened and I believe it, and live, eat, sleep, I just say you have to just have that heart tuned to the wanting and then trusting that it'll be so. It's harder than you think.
Yeah,
it's really hard. I've never wanted anything more in my life than to be healed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and whatever, use me however you see fit. If I can be a light unto others, if I can help other people, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I have the biggest heart and I feel for everybody, and I understand health problems. I understand coming off addiction or trying to rid yourself of addiction, because I went through that too. So it's hard, but it's willpower, it's strength, and it's really control of your mind. Like you have to know every little thought that's coming in, and you banish the ones right away that give you any negativity. You say, nope, I'm putting you on cloud and you're blowing away. You don't let those thoughts come in, because that's doubt. But just have to be strong in your mind, and then know with your heart. And anything's possible. All things are possible.
Of course. Yeah, of
God.
course.
Yeah.
Were you spiritual before you went through your stuff?
Yeah, I'd say I was, but not like I am now. Yeah. I've had a whole paradigm shift.
Of course.
But all my life, I always, believed in God and never wavered from that. I didn't wake up, though, till after my near death. I was still stuck in the matrix mode, So, and then you have a kid. I was 40 when I had my daughter. So that was a lot, trying to raise a baby when you're nearing retirement age. And I'm just kidding. Yeah, I was spiritual, though. That flipped me, made me do a 180.
Yeah.
And I started studying all the different things like you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking and reading books and getting to know me. And I know Amanita, I really feel like it rewired my brain. If there's a way to describe it, it flipped a switch for me. I had the miracle, I had the Amanita. I think everything was just working together. And I think Amanita can help so many people suffering from a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful. A lot of people talk about, psilocybin, how great it is. And it's helped a lot of people. But Amanita is a whole different thing. That's working on the subconscious. That's taking away the patterns and, that we've had since we were children, that were like ingrained into us. We had to believe a certain thing. We had to go to school. We had to do this. And we were just stuck in the matrix, Amanita will snap you right out of that and show you who you really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. I know what she's done in your life. It's actually, it's a he, she.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, it is. Red and white. Yeah. I'm curious about your thought about people. So like my mom has been taking Amanita. She wants it for a specific reason. And she's up to 2 Regalis capsules 2 times a day, which is a good amount. That's like, 2 to 3 grams 2 times a day. And she still doesn't feel anything. She doesn't notice anything. We get this all the time. People that don't notice anything, they don't feel anything. Where a lot of people, particularly the more spiritually adept you are, they'll feel like Eric has a friend who is super in alignment, and he just puts like a tiny speck on his tongue and he's gone, which is fascinating. There's like an energetic component to it too. But I'm curious about what your thought is about like, because it almost seems to have like a mechanism that inhibits people from getting anything from it if they're not ready. And it doesn't work like that with everybody, but it seems like a lot of people just don't get anything from it. And it seems to me that they're not ready. But I'm curious, what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, because, I do help a lot of people and I get the same feedback. They'll say, oh, I took 6 capsules and I didn't feel anything. And then I got some people that eat a quarter of a gummy and they're gone, just like, the gentleman you spoke of. Yeah, I think Amanita knows if you can handle it or not.
Yeah. Because
I think there really is a spiritual aspect to that mushroom.
Yeah, because it's
very
like,
much.
If you're not ready to look into the mirror and see the root of the issue, then it likely won't work for you. Then there's the other flip side of it too, where like, I don't know if you're around for this, but I'm sure you've heard the story when I was working with, I'm not going to name any names, we're working with some people and one guy doing extracts and stuff. And one guy was taking a lot of Amanita and then ended up running away with $500,000. Do you remember that story? Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so, and like what happened was, at least looking back on it, was that, it strengthens the ego so much, it seems like Amanita really strengthens the ego, but it does show generally with people that in a way that's like reflecting back to them what they need to work on while gently nudging them in the direction of, rewriting those programs. But with certain people, if they're aligned to the darkness or aligned to the negative, like that's where they're actively pursuing that. It seems to strengthen those aspects in themselves as well. And that's like back to the whole, yin yang knowledge of good and evil. Like, and this maybe would tie into why like potentially there's conjecture about, various secret societies utilizing Amanita for their very dark agendas, because it strengthens whatever direction you're looking to go into or whatever direction you're aligned into more. And it's another, I think it's very, very, very rare that we'll probably.
I hadn't heard that. That's got me interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard about the dark aspects and maybe that's why, I don't know, like Amanita in like countries like what, Lithuania? Or which one is it that outlawed it?
Lithuania.
Banned it.
Yeah. Lithuania.
Yeah, it was Lithuania. And it grows like everywhere there, So what are they trying to keep it from us because of that reason, that they want to utilize it and they don't want the good to rise up?
Yeah.
As well.
That definitely is a possibility. I've noticed this with myself. I've noticed it with people that are very close to me. There's like phases to the evolution through Amanita. And I'm like going through like the 6th or 7th phase in who knows how long it goes. I think it ends with like Christic, qualities coming through. But there's a phase in there after time where you've worked through, the anxiety or whatever it is that brought you to it. And you're like, you're a new person. And then it starts bringing up the really old stuff. and I've known people that I'm having a tough time not saying names, but I've known people that have had outbursts, so to speak, of very old, deep-rooted problems. It seems to bring up this stuff in a way that makes you address it. And sometimes people don't address it. They're afraid to address it. They don't look at it. And then that issue gets exacerbated and more exacerbated until they're finally willing to look at it. And so that's, I think it's important. Part of what Gabe and Eric and I discuss a lot in our the educational aspect of this is really ensuring that we get that information out and people understand that, because some people just want to utilize it and get past their anxiety, and that's fine. Like a lot of people want to utilize it much further and get much more deep into it. And for myself as well, I found like my addiction stuff back a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, it seemed to exacerbate my addiction stuff in a very specific way so that I would address it. But I didn't really realize that right off the bat. I don't know if I have a question with that, but it's just another interesting thing that I've been noticing that pops up more and more the further one gets on the mission and journey with Amanita.
So would you say that it's going to prompt you to do your shadow work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
And if you're not ready, you're not going to feel anything, and it's not going to be your time. So you're not ready to look at your shadow yet.
Yeah. Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, we're looking at history and how Amanita Muscaria is tied to the early Christians, It was in their artwork. I know Santos Bonacci, he gave a lecture and he said that it was the Eucharist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
At one time.
I'm pretty convinced of that at this point, to be honest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The John Allegro stuff is he was one of the 3 scholars that were tasked with deciphering the Dead Sea Scrolls. I don't know if it was just him or if all 3 of them came out and said, well, according to this, Jesus was a mushroom. I think he was a mushroom, or he was talking about the mushroom and kind of almost like a spreader of the gospel, we'll say. That's very in resonance. It's so fun because when we go out, this just happens spontaneously, but when we go out to festivals and stuff and hand out Amanita, Eric's the guy that does that. We just let him go and do it because he's so good at it. And he's so
I caught the video that he posted. I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, they're skydadding.
Yeah, well, we don't need to get
That was awesome.
Yeah, so Eric at Lightning in a Bottle Music Festival, he started saying Body of Christ, Bread of Heaven, when he hands it out to people. And so, just thousands of people, Body of Christ, Bread of Heaven. And it's so interesting. And it wasn't something that was premeditated. It just came to him to start doing. And
I think that the best when things like that happen, that's the best.
And it's so cool because you can see it in people's eyes when he says that and he hands it to them. They get it. Like part of them gets it. Maybe not fully consciously they get it, but part of them gets it. Some people, when he says that, you can see like a primal fear in their eyes. Like they're like, holy shit, this is I'm not ready for this, that's a very rare amount of people, but sometimes you see that. But it's so interesting you see it click, and seeing that pan out time and time again is like validity, even more validity for me that we have something, there's something there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I know you've done ceremonies with Amanita, and you've delved into a lot more than I have. Me, it's just me and going into meditation or whatever. If I want to, sometimes I just want to really sleep good,
Yeah.
And I sometimes suffer from insomnia, and it cures it immediately, gets me right back into my REM sleep. So I say I mainly use it for just to keep me tuned up. I have a little friend that wants to say hi. Looks like your kitty.
She does look like my
kitty. This is Pantherina, a.k.a. Panther.
Hi, Panther. That's sweet.
Yeah, I named all my cats after Amanitas. That's how much I love Amanita.
That's nice.
Reggie's around here somewhere. I mean, Regalis. Sir Regalis is his name.
So do you, and I know you do larger doses. Tell me about meditating with Amanita, or what your process is.
I think the most I think I've probably done was probably around, 15 to 20.
It's a good amount.
Grams, and that would be in tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I sipped it over like a couple hours.
Yeah.
So that I was just sort of riding the wave. Yeah. And then whenever you're just ready to like relax and like slow down, that's when I will start meditating. But I go really deep.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the muscimol, doesn't it? The way it affects the GABA, it's like putting you in your theta brain waves, like when you're meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you're like already there before you start.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it allows you to go really deep, you know? So I'd say more so I do it, you know, for physical reasons. So I do have some lingering nerve pain. And when it gets bad, you know, I'll start using the capsules or making tea. Or just sometimes I'll just, you know, eat a little bite of a mushroom.
Yeah.
Because they actually taste kind of good.
I have a friend. I think I probably told you a little bit about Jazz at this point, but she wants to make like a snack out of the caps themselves, like make them like umami flavored or something, and yeah, which sounds kind of fun. So she's gonna play with that.
That's kind of a nice idea.
How fun would it be if we have little like
a little crunchy chip?
Yeah, if we have little like Lay's bags of like little single serving, you know, like we can't make like 50 grams in a bag, wouldn't be a good idea, but
sure, why not?
That's a fun thought.
What's the most you've done?
Oh, I don't know, like the equivalent of like 50, 60 grams, probably something like that. Gabe's done the most that of anybody that is in my circle and once, and I think it was like 20 grams of a Pantherina regalis mix or something like that, which is
wow, that's strong.
A lot. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy story that I will not tell for sake of not embarrassing Gabe, or I won't tell it publicly. At least I'll tell you at some other point.
Okay, that'll be good.
You know, another
Gabe will be too shy to talk about it.
No, Gabe will tell you if you ask. Another interesting thing that I've noted is that, at least for me, you know, I go deep, and like I go and I become God, basically. Like that's kind of what happens to me when I get into that like really high dose. And that's a really rudimentary way of describing it and explaining it. But I start remembering, and it's so hard I can't pull it back into like that my brain can't hold the information at all that I get out there or the experience. So it's really hard to conceptualize. Each time I come back to me and this reality, I have a little bit more of it than the prior time. And each time I go I go a little bit further. So there will be a point in time where I'll be able to synthesize the two of them, I'm sure. And that maybe that's the ascension. I don't know. I go out further. I learn more. I experience more each time I do it. And it seems to me that the experience and the quality of the experience is directly related to how healed I am. So like the more in tune I am with myself, and this is unique, like it's probably similar with ayahuasca or other psychedelics, but it's a really unique thing that like it becomes better and better and better the more work you do, it's gently nudging you to do that work, and it just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people really should be looking to heal themselves, because the more we're healed, the more the world heals, the more the earth heals.
Of course.
And it comes from you starting and then realizing, hey, we're like a drop in the same ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, each one of us is a little drop in the same ocean. So you can think of it as we're God, you know, we're part of God or the all or source, having the experience to bring it back. So each and every one of us make up the source, make up God.
Of course. Yeah.
We're all woven into the same tapestry that is the all.
Yeah.
You know,
is that I've experienced that and done my research, and I know that very intimately and intuitively. I'm curious, I know you do too. Is that something that you were shown in your NDE that you didn't know prior to that?
What they showed me, it was weird because it was like my life review, and that's where they got the messages to me. Basically, I judged myself by seeing everything, and it was weird because my life review went from the current day backwards, because I don't think they wanted to show me too much about my childhood.
Sure.
I was so close to God as a child and walked with God and then of course you become a teenager, you get a little wild or something, but I always was pulled back. The NDE, what it showed me was, okay, like I'm hearing my own voice, I'm having my own thoughts, I'm watching myself. And then if I wanted to go to that scene, I immediately felt what whoever was in that particular moment was with me, how they were feeling about me at that moment. And so after you've been like slapped across the head, 5 or 6 times because, wow, when you said this and you never thought you ever hurt anybody, you said this and this is how you made your friend feel or your boyfriend feel or you hurt this person. And when you find out how bad you hurt somebody else and you come back from the other side, that's where I learned your words have power and to use them wisely. Because what we say is 100 times more important than anything else. The words are always, remember how people like domestic violence, they say, yeah, I got hit and everything, but it was what he said to me and how he spoke to me that hurt me more.
Yeah.
And so, I've just learned to leave people better than I found them. You know what I'm saying? That's always my thought. Leave that person better than when you found them. Say something nice to them, make a joke, give them a compliment, whatever it is. Just let people know that, especially your loved ones, how much you love them.
Yeah.
You can say it all day long to them, and they're never going to get tired of hearing, I love you. Just say it. Yeah, I'd say that's where I got that lesson, for the NDE. And then all the other things just came about as I was reading books and sort of trying to piecemeal it all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't nobody judges you but you on the other side.
Yeah.
We're immortal. This is just but like a blink of an eye in who we are. We're a spirit. We're capable of doing so many things. We can be anything. We can do anything. Your thoughts will take you somewhere. Watch your thoughts, But really, it's like, just live, people. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Live. Be happy. Life isn't that bad, Tell the people that you love them. Be kind. Offer to help if you can. Try to make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's what I think Amanita embodies. I think
agree.
it's really what love is. You can't love someone else until you truly love and know yourself. That's why so many young people get into relationships and they're still looking to see who they are. I'm better with you, but I lean on you for so much. If you weren't here, how would my world fall apart?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to be tough and you have to know no matter what, I'm always going to be okay because I have me.
Yeah.
Or no, don't be afraid of like being alone. That's some of the best times you'll ever have is when you're alone with yourself.
Of course. With
nothing but you and your thoughts. Put music on, dance, whatever. Be stupid, be silly, but just enjoy being you.
Yeah.
It's gone before you know it.
Yeah. So many, part of my journey has been, and I think really everybody's journey is looking for external validation in some way, shape, or form. And I think that Amanita does a really wonderful job at allowing people to remember who they really are, to have that own internal validation. And of course, everything it's work too. Like we talk about Amanita and it is extraordinarily powerful, but like a little bit of work added into it makes it that much more. It's not a cure-all or a heal-all, although it can be very efficacious for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But we have to do the work as well, which is an important aspect of it.
Oh, it is. But I'll just never forget how before I used to wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I have to do this today. And I got to, oh gosh, I don't feel like doing that, but I guess I got to do that. And then like, you wake up and you like dread getting out of bed because you have to do things you don't really want to do.
Yep.
And I remember like when it just sort of like clicked and I felt like that shift in my brain, I remember waking up for like that at first moment where I recognized something's different. I remember I woke up and I was so happy. I was like, oh, I get to do this. Like jump out of bed. I've never been that kind of person in my entire life. I'm like, something's different about me. And then just even doing stupid things like, feeding my cats, or I make it fun. I just try to make like everything joyful. Like it just, I want to exude like this peace and joy. It just comes out of my pores now.
You're good at it.
So that's what I noticed was been like the biggest shift I could possibly have ever had. And that's why I say I feel like it rewired my brain.
For sure.
Because I wake up happy now. And I never used to happen. So how about you? Have you noticed that you feel a little different when you get up in the morning? You like look forward to your day, or?
Of course, yeah. Well, I mean, I've been going through it for years, as you know, and like I think one of the things that people don't see behind, the face in the business is like what I've had to go through this entire time. And actually, Gabe and I we're gonna do that. So you'll be the 6th episode of the Amanita Effect podcast. The 7th episode, which is fun, will be Gabe interviewing me about what it's actually been like and what I've gone through. And I'm gonna go through it all. Yeah. I obviously won't go through anything that'll hurt somebody else or make somebody else look in a way that is not right to portray publicly. But yeah, I'm gonna go through it all. So yeah, I've been going through it, and there's been a lot of really hard times throughout this whole ordeal, but it's fun and recently. And I think part of my story has been to do it without substances, and including Amanita. Like Amanita brought me super far. I think that, and it'll continue to bring me far in many regards, but I think a lot of what I've had to learn has been meant to be without substances. And that's why I've had my health issues and blah, blah, blah. And it's all relating to, substances, as you know.
Yeah.
And substances that I used to use. So it's been really interesting the past couple weeks, and there's some more personal stuff to this that we can talk about. I've been the most fulfilled and most happy I've ever been. And although Amanita wasn't what caused it in this moment, it was part of the catalyst, and everything that I've learned on it has been, a really essential aspect of it all. Absolutely. But yeah, it's been really nice to wake up happy and ready to go. It's been really lovely because I've been grinding upstream. I've been swimming upstream for 5 years, and
I'm really proud of everything you've accomplished so far.
Yeah,
but the greater things are still coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just more and more on the podcasts that you've been on, and spreading the word about Amanita and telling your story of how you had withdrawn from benzodiazepines and that horrific journey you went on. But had you not been at your darkest moment, and needing help, I was in the same place, and we both found Amanita. And what did it do? Changed our lives.
Yep, absolutely.
It's been different ever since.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. 100%.
And everybody needs to know that there's a lot of unethical people out there that say they've got Amanita and they're not using Amanita. So
yeah,
I know the universe led me to you first, because I could have been scammed a million times, trying to find it or whatnot. So you've been a big help to a lot of people, Christian. You really have with what you do.
It's an honor, and I'm very blessed to be in the position that I'm in. And I really think it's just the beginning. Like, it's just the beginning, particularly we have a lot of stuff cooking right now that's really exciting. And yeah, it's just the beginning. Like if we're a plane like taking off, like we haven't even left the runway yet. We might be at, full speed so that it can start getting some lift, it feels like, but
we're just taxing to the runway right now, maybe. Yeah, ready to taxi to the runway.
Maybe even that. Yeah. Yeah, we're just getting started. So
I feel it.
It's really exciting. It's so humbling and rewarding, and it's just such, like, I couldn't imagine. I had this conversation with somebody a little bit ago at my family reunion, actually. There's nothing more like aligned and better for humanity as a whole that I could be doing. I feel like this might be like the most sacred work ever. And that's a really cool thing to be able to be a part of that. And it's sometimes I know in this conversation, I also realize like I don't give myself credit enough, for what I've done and what we've done and what we've accomplished. Like I'm always like, I want more. I want to help more people. I want to do more. And that's been a very limiting belief. And that's been part of that, like, validation seeking in some sense. I didn't feel whole, so I wanted more. I wanted to be able to do more for more people and, get more capital going so that we can move more and maneuver easy.
Well, as a business owner, you should feel that way.
Yeah.
Because you don't be stagnant. You're like,
absolutely. But then there's absolutely, but doing that to a fault is also not good because I've also not given myself gratitude and appreciation for what I have accomplished and like been proud of myself and like, dude, what you've done is really badass. Like sit with that a little bit. And so I started sitting with that just like a week and a half ago. And I've been journaling really intensely about that. And it's been part of this shift that I've been going through that also ties into, all the stuff that I went through last year, we'll say, which people will hear about on the next podcast.
Yeah. You and Gabe have such a nice flow with each other.
Yeah. He's great.
I mean, it's literally, you guys are soul brother.
Yeah. Well, and Eric too. And, we brought Eric. We finally got Eric on payroll and assimilated into the company. And, we call ourselves the Holy Trio. I don't know where that came from, but the Holy Trio. And now it finally feels like, with all of us working together, it feels like some big energetic barriers have been released and new energy is flowing in, and it times up really perfectly with all the other stuff that we have going on. So I think people will start seeing a lot more from us coming up.
Well, the universe doesn't make any mistakes, I always say. So there's a reason, that I felt something towards Gabe. I was on TikTok and I was putting in Amanita Muscaria and getting our page set up there. And I kept seeing these Gabe Hardy reels. And I'm like, oh, he's got such a nice presence on camera. He's got like beautiful eyes and his teeth. And he just like essentially got good energy. And then I'm looking at like his production that he's doing and thinking, man, he could make us some great content. Look what he's doing. So just hit him up in the DM and he got back to me and then we started talking. And next thing you know, he's part of the company. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's the bones of the company, really. Like he's the foundation at this point. Like he makes sure he's the back end, which I'm just so grateful for. He's like a little prodigy, he is a prodigy. He's so young and what a old soul. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, that's what I say. He definitely is wise beyond his years.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But I felt something energetically with Gabe. I don't know why. I felt that's usually how I operate, is by how I get the feeling. It like hits my gut. Like, oh, yeah, that's what we got to do. And as long as I follow that, everything always works out.
I almost feel, well, and first off, like, infinite gratitude for you for making all that happen and bringing us together. I almost feel that Gabe, Eric, and myself share the same oversoul, and we're like different fingers of the same entity, which like
you guys need each other. You guys, each one of you does something different and brings something different, and then when you're together, it's beyond powerful.
Yeah.
It really is. You guys make each other shine. That's the way to put it.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to see what happens with Eric more involved, and all this fun, unique, neat stuff coming up that I can't quite talk about yet, but we'll get there. What's your vision of the future for Amanita? Like, and you can wrap it into us and the company if you want, but I'm really more curious about like, what do you think Amanita's like? I've always thought that the real story, the Amanita story hasn't really begun yet, or it's just beginning. Like even though it's been a part of history, like I really feel like the real mission, its real mission. Like everything in the past was like pre-pavement for the actual mission. And I think the mission is starting now, and it's starting through you, and it's starting through me, and it's starting through the tens, hundreds of thousands of people that have found it. What do you think do you have any thoughts about what that story is meant to look like?
I think there's going to come a time, and like I feel it too in the very near future, where people will say Amanita Muscaria as easy as they're saying CBD. You know, how CBD was, oh, it's made from hemp. That's marijuana. No, it's so bad. But now people of all ages take CBD gummies, you know, whatever, tinctures. They're using rubs with CBD in it and sprays and all this other stuff. So I think Amanita is going to join that group where it's just going to oh yeah, so I couldn't sleep last night, so I took some Amanita and I was great. You know, I woke up refreshed, not groggy, because you really do.
Yeah,
you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. But I really think it's going to be in everyone's medicine cabinet. I think that it's going to be made into a medicine that helps people with, let's say, like, you know, MS or Parkinson's or something. We've seen miracles.
Oh yeah.
People that aren't supposed to get better. I mean, come on. So yeah, I just feel like it's time for Amanita to be back in our consciousness. Not something that we're rediscovering, but it's just in our consciousness now.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's going.
I tend to think that like it has a very large role to play in the evolution of humanity and the ascension, as some people call it. And I think that, you know, it's as within, so without, right? So when one individual's vibration rises, it raises the vibration of the collective. And I think that who knows if we'll ever be able to like really look back and be like, that was Amanita did that, or Amanita had a big role in that. Like, I don't know if it'll ever be quantifiable, but I think that it absolutely is intending to be a part of the awakening of humanity.
It's called also the Jesus mushroom, right?
Yep.
It embodies Christ consciousness. So how come Jesus can't return as a mushroom?
Yeah.
You know?
Thought.
Second coming? Yeah, I think there's a big role. You know, I think they're going to make everybody have to, you know, use Amanita for like a year before they can enter public office. Just
that would be fun.
In order to be a CEO or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I think it gives you empathy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more empathy if you already have it.
Yeah.
But, and a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to trip, but you don't trip.
Right.
It's not anything like people think like psilocybin does. It's like the polar opposite, but it works on your subconscious. And that is the hardest thing in the world to reprogram. Just because you get set in your ways and you know what you were taught, and all that's got to get erased.
Yeah.
For you to build upon who you really are, which is a spirit that never dies, having this brief time here. Get done what you want to do. Don't put anything off. Take the trip. Do whatever. Go visit your kids, or kids go visit your parents. Tell them you love them. You know, it's just time for all of us to come together. And I think Amanita will help. Definitely will be raising the Christ consciousness of the planet. So may it be so.
May it be so. I think that's a beautiful place to end at. I love you so much, Renee. It's really good to see your face.
You.
I haven't seen your face in too long, it feels like. So, and we're going to be hanging out.
I know.
I know this is still months out, but in November, we're going to be hanging out, which is great. And maybe we'll get to see each other sooner than that, but we always talk.
I would love that. Any opportunity to do any work, you know, are you guys doing any events? You know how much I love doing events. So
yeah, I know.
Just love talking to the people and helping, and just feels so good.
Well, if you ever find somewhere that you want to go, just let me know, and I'll send you a bunch of samples to hand out to people. You can spread the gospel. So just let me know.
Okay. I can do that. I think the there's another Psychedelic coming. I think it might be in Tampa or something. I just saw it. Saw it in my feed.
November. Yeah. That's where we'll be hanging out there. Yeah. And I've been talking.
Okay. That's the one I was going to say. I definitely would go to that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're already all set up. I'm going to be speaking, and we're going to do Amanita Church, which is really excited about.
Oh, great.
Eric's going to hand out, we're going to hand out, to everybody. And then we'll do like a worship sermon and stuff, which is kind of fun and exciting, non-denominational.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll be.
All right. Tell me and I'll be there. I'll just drive over.
Yeah.
But 4 hours.
Yeah. Sounds good.
It's a nice drive too.
Cool. All right, Mama.
Yeah, it's all cow pastures and stuff.
Cool.
Nice.
Maybe I'll fly into you and we'll drive out together. That could be fun.
Yeah, we could do that. I would love it. I won't be able to sleep tonight. I'll be too excited.
No, we'll just take some Amanita. Take some Amanita. You'll get some sleep.
Yes, of course. Yes, Sky Daddy.
Don't stop. All right. Well, I love you so much.
It's great.
It's so nice to talk, and we'll do this again too. So.
Yeah, I'm very excited. This is such a good idea. I'm so proud of everything you and Gabe and Eric are doing. I couldn't be more proud to work for someone like you.
You're part of it.
By the way, I have to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting around you.
It's dark right now.
I have been watching your aura.
Oh, cool.
Change colors.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I see people's energy, and that's something that when I came back, from my NDE, that I kept seeing like colors around people, and I had to ask my girlfriend that's this, the hands-on energy healer and all that. I'm like, why am I seeing colors around people? She goes, well, you're seeing auras. I'm like, I am? I didn't know what they were. But when we started out, your energy was tight to your head, really tight. And it was just this beautiful gold color, just outlining you. And then as something like made you think or like you were like maybe talking about healing and whatnot, this part of your face right there would light up green, this beautiful like Kelly green color. And so I was watching the greens pop around. And then I started to see peach. I saw like a lavender, gold, white. I'm still looking at it right now. Yellow. It's almost like a rainbow popping off of you. It's beautiful. Like your aura is just, it's stunning.
That's really nice. Thanks, Renee. That's cool. I'll take it.
No, really.
I'll take it.
No, your aura is beautiful. The colors are just like so peaceful.
Thanks, Renee.
Very peaceful.
Well, maybe you can help train me to see auras. I can see, I don't see colors. If I focus my eyes, I can see outlines. I can see the energy, but I can't see color. And I have to really focus.
You can't just see the energy outline.
Yeah. It's like on psychedelics. If you look at somebody on psychedelics, you can see like I can see that if I tune my eyes, but I've never seen colors. Someday we'll get there. You can train me.
You will. It'll happen. It'll happen. The easiest way to do it, if you like a friend or whoever you're hanging out with, if you have like a door that's white, have them stand in front of the door and close their eyes and stare right here. Don't break your stare. Just keep staring, and like don't look at the energy when it pops out. Just keep staring and you'll see the color.
That's
whatever
cool.
color they've got.
That's good to know. Okay.
But you just stare at their forehead. That's one way to train your eyes.
Cool. Interesting. I will start playing with that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And then you can do it to yourself. If you have like a mirror and like something white behind you, like the door to the bathroom or something, if it opens up white behind you, you do it to yourself. You stare here, and in the reflection, you'll see your aura.
Cool.
It's cool.
I'll play with that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's just training your eyes. That's all.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I love you.
Love you,
son.
Too. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Okay.
You go have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Amanita Effect podcast. Please like us, share, subscribe, and get in touch